Welcome to the HR Chat Show, one of the world's most downloaded and shared podcasts designed for HR pros, talent execs, tech enthusiasts, and business leaders. For hundreds more episodes and what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit HRgazette.com.
Welcome to another episode of the HR Chat Show. Hello, listeners. This is your host today, Bill Banham. And joining me on this special episode, and it's special. Why is it special, Bill? Because my good friend Mallory Flynn is back on the show. The wonderful, fantastic, one and only Mallory Flynn, who is the content manager for the Career Development, Organization Development and Talent Management Communities and the ATD Job Bank Administrator at the Association for Talent Development, aka ATD. Before joining ATD, Mallory worked in public relations and content management for around 10 years. And as a member of the media affairs team at SHRM, Society for Human Resource Management, which is where I first met Mallory, Mallory created content and promoted SHRM's work by liaising closely with journalists from outlets like the New York Times, NBC, Bloomberg, The Economist, USA Today, and HR Gazette. She grew up in beautiful North Carolina. There's a state I'm yet to visit, Mallory, and is an alum of North Carolina State University. She currently resides in Northern Virginia, and you should follow her on LinkedIn, of course. And that's Mallory Flynn, and I'm sure she'll give you her contact details again later on.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the HR Chat podcast. If you enjoy the audio content we produce, you'll love our articles on the HR Gazette. Learn more at HRgazette.com. And now, back to the show.
Mallory, how are you doing? It's lovely to have you back on the show today.
It's so good to be here, Bill. I think I was saying just before we got on, I can't believe it's been, 5 years that I've gotten the opportunity to know you and see you in events all over the United States. You're just telling me, I believe, that you've visited, 36 states in our country, and I haven't even been to that many. So even though I'm not in North Carolina anymore, I'll have to get you down to Western North Carolina. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's a shame you haven't been there yet.
It certainly is. There's a whole bunch of states just down there: North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. I haven't been to any of those ones
Virginia.
yet.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to have you. They're beautiful. I love the South. I can't help it being from there, and I've moved just a handful of hours away in Northern Virginia, outside of DC, which has been great. Lots happening. So I know I'll be seeing you or colleagues soon at ATD 25.
Absolutely, and that's going to be part of the focus of today's conversation. We're going to be talking about three main events that you're involved with, Mallory, and those are, of course, the big one, ATD, which is happening as we record this interview at the end of April. It's happening in just a few weeks in beautiful DC. We're also going to be talking about a conference that you're heading up, you're leading, and that's the ATD Coaching Conference, which is happening virtually in August, and of course the wonderful Org Dev, which is in October, so a little bit later on in the year. Let's start with ATD, as it's in chronological order. It's the first one coming up. Can you give our audience a bit of an overview of what the ATD conference is, how many folks attend, and what are some of the top speakers that you'd recommend checking out at this year's event?
Absolutely. So ATD 25 is happening in, as you mentioned, just a few short weeks. We are all making sure we are ready to go. I can't believe it's just around the corner. And that will be in Washington, D.C., as you said, May 18th through the 21st. With that conference, you'll really see thousands of learning professionals that come together for best practices, solutions to training challenges, a peek into the future of learning, and inspirational stories that will lift their work long after the event ends. This event is really geared towards talent development professionals, and we have more than 80 countries that are at the event coming together to exchange ideas. They're building relationships and collaborating. I think some of the speakers that we're the most excited for are, of course, on the main stage, athlete and advocate Simone Biles. We have organizational behavior expert and author Amy C. Edmondson and Seth Godin. And I would be remiss if I didn't note that anyone who's attending ATD 25 can find me in our career center. That's where we're really going to be looking to highlight opportunities for job seekers. We'll have one-on-one resume coaching. We've got the International Coaching Federation offering individual coaching sessions for 45 minutes, all of this for free. So it's a great place for people to come together and not only continue to build their career where they currently are in their organizations, but to network and seek out opportunities on the grounds.
And as a past participant, I was there last year when I think it was in New Orleans.
Yes, New
Uh,
Orleans. That was I mean, as you know, I've been at ATD for a couple years now, sure and prior, but New Orleans is one of my favorite American cities. So exciting to see you there. And I had a fabulous time. I hope you did and got a chance to check out some music.
I loved it. And then you kindly suggested that I go along to my first one, which was the previous year, which was in San Diego.
San
Um,
Diego, yeah.
Lovely city, but nobody told me about Grey May and June gloom. I was I was expecting beautiful, sunny, warm California weather, not British style weather. But in all seriousness, I had great experiences at both of those events. It is now one of the core events on my calendar each year. And when folks ask me, and this happens all the time, Bill, what conferences should we be attending if we're in this space? I always say ATD, and I throw in HR Tech, SHRM, and maybe one or two others. So I don't think I can give you higher praise than that. It's a lovely event, great people who attend, lots of awesome content. If you're interested in learning more about what the latest trends are, or if you want to chat to hundreds and hundreds of vendors, I think your exhibition has something like 500 plus exhibitors, then it's an amazing event to attend. And then on top of that, you guys do a pretty good job at organizing networking evenings as well. I have a jolly good
Absolutely.
time going to parties. So
This year it's going to be at the National Building Museum, so it's an opportunity to come and visit something that's near and dear to DC's heart. I've always had such a fun time at those events, and Bill, I feel like you really know how to close those events out. So you're the person to find to have a good time if you're visiting and networking at a conference event.
well, alas, I will not be there this year in person. However, my colleague Chris Bueling, he will be at ATD. So, listeners, if you're in attendance, please do link up with Chris Bueling. That's with a J, and you can find him on LinkedIn, and he'll be walking around on the floors and attending sessions and whatnot. And I'm sure he'd like to have a chit chat and maybe set up interviews afterwards. So that's a bit of an overview of ATD. Very exciting, coming up in just a few weeks as we're recording that. But as we're recording this, but you are up to so much, Mallory. You're organising so many different things that we're going to whiz through today and talk about a couple of other events coming up. So next in chronological order, that I understand, is the ATD Coaching Conference, which is a virtual event this year. I believe it's the first one. It's happening August 20th and 21st. The coaching conference offers a targeted platform for professionals in talent development, training, and HR to leverage coaching for organizations and individuals alike. Can you take a couple of minutes, Mallory, and tell us all about this brand new, fantastic event, your role within it, and what folks can expect from it?
Absolutely. I am so looking forward to our coaching conference. As you mentioned, it's going to be the very first of its kind for ATD. What I think sets this coaching conference apart a little bit from what you'll find in other capacities is we're really focusing on guiding professionals as they learn how to launch, build, and scale their coaching programs. So it's really tailored, and I think you might have just mentioned this, for professionals in HR, talent development, and training as they leverage coaching for the organization. So what I'm the most excited about is that we're really going to be able to get a sneak peek into some different organizations, programs, the strategies they've put together, and actionable takeaways. We have speakers from organizations like Salesforce, Panasonic Energy, UC Berkeley, and they'll be speaking to the programs. So that looks like making a business case for coaching in their organization, how they became a trusted partner of their C-suite and the other executives they're working with, bringing coaching into their organization, building that framework for establishing and scaling their programs. And this, of course, includes information on the technology needed to support the programs. And of course, the popular topic, how could we not mention it, of coaching and AI. We'll also, of course, have ICF, the International Coaching Federation, who will be showcasing sessions as well on the importance of elevating coaching standards.
Okay, you had to do it. You had to mention AI, so we're going to have
I
to talk
had
about
to
AI
do it.
now.
I know, Bill. I'm I'm not the first to do it typically, but I do know that it's been really interesting seeing how much AI is supporting people or individuals as they are looking to scale these programs. And I have been privy to seeing a really strong AI bot or two. I know there's so many out in the field, so this will be looking a little bit more of how we blend the human component of coaching with the component of AI. So not not necessarily like a demo of sorts or anything like that, but a lot's just taking another look at like what that looks like, ethical standards there, and everything else involved.
Hi, this is Chris Bierling, host of the People and Performance podcast. Each episode features conversations Bill Banham and I have with leaders and consultants about ways they've inspired colleagues to thrive. Past People and Performance podcast guests are from such brands as NASA, IBM, Rolls-Royce, and McKinsey & Co. You can find us on your podcast player of choice.
So you've got your finger on the pulse with this stuff. The world of coaching isn't particularly my forte. I chat to people on this show specifically around HR processes and practices and whatnot, primarily talent acquisition and similar as well. Within those job functions, there is a lot of fear that jobs are going to continue to be replaced. And people don't really know what those new jobs are going to be. Those jobs of the future. They're like, oh, don't worry, Bill. There'll be new jobs to take over these other roles that are being replaced. I'm a bit more skeptical about that. I'm sure you read in the last couple of weeks, Bill Gates came out and said within 10 years, a lot of people will only be doing 2 days a week because AI will replace so much, specifically in the coaching world. Mallory, what's the feedback? What are you hearing in terms of how AI will be augmenting and or replacing a lot of traditional coaching roles in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think at the end of the day, individuals that are involved in coaching are looking at more of a way to support their current initiatives, unless it's something that's going to replace. At the end of the day, we have that human element, and these bots, of course, are getting very advanced, but people want to still make sure that they're bringing in their own individual personalities, their expertise. I think it is a way to help scale organizations in their coaching efforts, but I don't think we're going to see that we're going to get away, from that individual human component.
Good. Pleased to hear it, because we need something to do with our time, right? Okay. Let's move on to event number 3, and that's OrgDev. Now that's not happening for a while yet. That's happening in October. That's not an event that I'm yet to go to, although I'm hoping to change that sooner rather than later. Can you take a couple of minutes, give us a bit of an overview of OrgDev, how that's different to the other 2 events we've spoken about so far, and why people maybe should check that one out too?
Absolutely. And Bill, I think this is where we really first got connected. When I began at ATD, I've ran with OrgDev from the very beginning. It is very near and dear to my heart. So that event is happening in Houston, October 20th to the 22nd. I think something that really differentiates this from the other offerings at the Association for Talent Development is we've got a lot of HR individual offerings at this particular conference. So this is our premier event for organizational development professionals, where you'll explore topics like culture, talent strategy and management, leadership and employee development. We're going to be looking at building strategic partnerships, and also, of course, I have to mention it again, leveraging AI and OD. So this is a 3-day experience where you've got this opportunity to learn and network. We've got breakfast, lunch, we've got a great reception there as well. That's all included in the registration. It's currently still under a discounted rate, and of course we have discounts for teams of 3 or more. But I really do hope to get you there soon, Bill. This has been such a great event. We're really seeing such growth year over year, and so many of these topics are still at the forefront of organizations today.
Okay, well then we should definitely take this offline. I have been to Houston briefly. I got the Astros cap, went to the baseball stadium, but I had about 4 hours there. I'd love to go back and explore more. So we should have further conversations around that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have been at ATD now for a few years.
2 years now, yes.
What do you love about the culture there? What keeps you in that role? You and I were talking before we hit record today. You were saying to me, Bill, my boss has been there for a very long time. That's pretty standard in terms of people join ATD. They become either members or indeed staff with ATD, and they just love it. They love the community. What makes it special compared to other associations out there?
Yeah, the Association for Talent Development, I think the biggest thing I've noticed is I've never been as well connected to such a huge network of individuals who just want to help out. All of the work that I'm creating is with advisory boards, or we're producing content for magazines and online and all the different capacities that you mentioned that I work in. And these individuals really just want to give back and offer up their expertise and make sure they're helping others. I am consistently meeting new people that are based in org dev or talent development or L&D in all capacities, and just learning and learning each week. And so, yeah, it's just been a community that I've been so grateful to have. I feel sometimes like the person who has championed me, I'm going to give a shout out to someone named Kimberly Jetter. She's huge into networking. She's so in my lane, so in my field, so ready to make things happen for me that sometimes I feel like she's doing a better job of championing me and my individual learning opportunities than I am. So it's just been a great place to meet people that want to learn, want to share their learning with others. I haven't been happier.
Okay, and just make sure I got that right. Kimberly Jeddah, is that right?
Kimberly Jetter, yes.
Okay, so giant shout out to Kimberly Jeddah. Kimberly, if you're listening to this episode, you rock. Keep doing what you're doing. Mallory, beyond those 3 core events that we've just spoken about now, again, before we hit record today, you mentioned, Bill, we've got all these other things going on. I'd love an opportunity to mention some of those too. So my next question for you is, what else, Mallory? What else is happening in your world? What else? What other events are you guys involved in terms of production at the moment?
Fantastic. There are so many other events I will just add that are happening at ATD outside of the ones that I am noting. So just an FYI that I'm kind of shamelessly plugging all of my events. So feel free to check out td.org for the other events that are happening. One thing I did want to note, though, coming up June 9th and November 3rd is ATD's Leadership Development Day. This event is really worthwhile because not only is it an opportunity to hear from top minds in leadership development, but it's a free event and it's online. So we'll be speaking on the June 9th date to individuals from organizations such as UC Health, Johnsonville Sausage, and Siemens, which is the technology company for industry, infrastructure, and transportation. These individuals be looking at real world case studies, and they'll be sharing actionable insights and practical strategies so you can grow and transform your own leadership development programs. We launched the first one last year. It was a huge success. We decided to do 2 this year, and it's really hard to say no when it's a free event. So hopefully we'll see lots of HR Gazette, HRchat individuals online there.
Excellent. Well, I think that just leaves me with one more question for you for today, and we'll be getting you back on again soon. But for today, how can our listeners connect with you? So is that email? Is that LinkedIn? You're way younger and cooler than me, so probably TikTok and Instagram. And of course, maybe you can share some of those URLs again with our listeners. There will be links in the show notes, of course, listeners. But if you want to blurt out some of those websites again, so people can check those out and get tickets and whatnot.
First, this is where I point out that Bill is also a millennial, so I'm not way younger. We're same age range, but I would love to be in connection. You can email me, mflynn@td.org, so M as in Mallory, or I would love to connect with you all on LinkedIn. It's there under Mallory, Content Manager at the Association for Talent Development, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you all online.
Wonderful. And just before we finish today, I have had the honor and privilege of being involved with this podcast now for over 800 episodes since 2016. There are a handful of people that I've got so much love for and so much respect for, and Mallory, you're right up there at the top. I love that HR Gazette and the HR Chat show has allowed me to develop relationships with some pretty cool, special people like yourself. So thank you, and just keep being you.
Thank you, Bill. Can't wait till next year and seeing you later this year.
And listeners, as always, until next time, happy working.
Thanks for listening to the HR Chat Show. If you enjoyed this episode, why not subscribe and listen to some of the hundreds of episodes published by HR Gazette? And remember, for what's new in the world of work, subscribe to the show, follow us on social media, and visit hrgazette.com.